Hello everyone, another day, another One Piece video. So my plan originally was to do the second part of East Blue, and I can't because I leave for a competition for the Warrior Games tomorrow morning, very early in the morning. And it is currently almost 10 p.m. Yeah, it took me a good portion of the day to finish the Baratie. Is apparently how you pronounce it. Correct me if I'm wrong, kindly, please. But I did the Baratie arc, and I felt like there was so much to talk about in this arc. So last week's video for y'all is a week. For me, it was yesterday. So this video, if y'all had some recommendations on the previous video, nothing will have changed by now because of the circumstances. Okay, so, but what I did change yesterday versus today is that I kind of brought up the characters as they came up so I can try to talk about the story a bit more chronologically than before. So this covers chapters 42 through 68, and it will be full spoilers for it and what happened previously, but no spoilers past chapter 68 because I know nothing past there. So we are introduced to Johnny and Yosaku as Zoro's old partners. I feel like I don't have much to say about them. You know, they're kind of like goofy, kind of like everyone else, but they have that kind of mystery about them where you don't really know all of their backstory and everything that happened with them. Lieutenant Iron Fist Full Body comes in, and I honestly almost forgot about him. I know that he's going to come up later because of the way he came in and left and was like, I'm off duty today, y'all. I'm not bothering with y'all. Interesting, though. Chef Zeff, I believe, master of the deadly kick, who sailed the Grand Line for a whole year, and I love his character. I love how strong he is and how dedicated he is to his dreams, and how that plays in with the other characters and how they're following their dreams. Obviously we have Patty. Well, I'll go more into him and the story as I go along, but then we have a Patty Cook, and we have, I believe it's Craig, or it's something like that, but Dawn of the Pirate Armada. Wow, he was an epic character, and I feel like so much happened in this arc that is like so complex, and like I could not have guessed anything other than Sanji becoming a part of the crew. Like I kind of thought he was, because also he kind of looked familiar to me, so I felt like he might become a part of the crew. Let's see, definitely interesting how we could see that the Dawn of the Pirate Armadas was like a crazy awesome guy, so it builds up that tension of like, how is this going to go, like how is this interaction going to go with them, and then we slowly kind of figure out who Chef Zeff is, and I think that that's really interesting for him. And I love the restaurant and how, because basically the only people they get on their ship is pirates and people who want to watch pirates fight each other, basically. I think it's so funny that they're always like beating each other up and like calling each other names and stuff like that, and that's all a part of their kind of the nature of the restaurant, and what draws people in and what gives them business is how ridiculous they are. The amount of power this man had and the fact that Luffy still defeated him was absolutely insane, and I honestly was like freaking out during this battle. I just reminded myself of something. So we go into the next part where Hawkeye comes in, the greatest swordsman, and I honestly didn't think we would see him so early on, but I'm glad we did, and he absolutely humiliated our boy Zoro. So I don't know, like he's been absolutely humiliated just by the little sword in that man's cross, and to hear what all you need to do to become the greatest swordsman, to be better than this man who could take out 50 pirate crews, I believe, or 50 pirate ships with the one sword he has. Like, how did he do it? Did he eat a devil's fruit? Do we have, you know, confirmation on that or not? I don't know. I didn't see him swimming or anything, so. Freaking Nami throwing off the brothers, as I like to call them, Johnny and Yosaku, and taking the treasure, and then being like, oh, I hope that we can fly with each other, I hope that we can, they'll let me ride with them again. Like, girl, I know you got your own things going on, but you're annoying. She is annoying, as all get out. She is just, I'm over her. I really am. As we continue with Hawkeye, I really liked the respect and honor between them and the fight that they had. and that this master swordsman like saw kind of his potential, Zoro's potential, that he wasn't going to like immediately just kill him, because he's like, no, it's like probably just not worth it. Like there's no reason for this death, because he doesn't really see him as a threat, definitely. And I think that was definitely interesting. And I like the respect and honor that Luffy and Zoro have for each other. Well, they will let each other fight their own fights, because like that's just like their code. Like they're like, no, like we're gonna let them fight their own fights, and then, you know, see where it goes from there. And then I liked that Hawkeye brought out the point of how Zoro and Luffy make a good team, or I said it, how Zoro and Luffy make a good team, just like, and I believe they really do, with their personalities and the way that they just kind of can bounce off of each other, especially in fights. I mean, in their normal, I guess, I mean, normal is fighting for them really, but in the peaceful times, I guess you could say, they kind of, like, obviously Luffy's really crazy and goofy, and Zoro is like more low-key and just nonchalant, more serious, but he can joke around too. Obviously in battles they really fight well together, or have that really great respect for each other to let each other fight their own fights. The Invincible Pearl was absolutely crazy, did not see that coming. I also thought at first for some reason that his body was like made of a shield, and that he had eaten one of the devil's fruits, but I guess it makes sense that he didn't, because he like came out of the water. But he would just have those shields strapped on, and I thought it was really funny when Luffy accidentally gives him his first like nosebleed in a fight, and everyone else around is like, wait, no, please. And I think that Oda was really going crazy, really going in on the battles for this arc, and also really going in on just his creativeness with character design within battles, within their armor or their fighting types. So, you know, you have this big shield guy who calls himself the Invincible Pearl, and then you have the Dawn, who just has this amazing armor, which you think for a split second, why do more pirates not have armor on? Well, they're thieves, they have to be nimble and quick and everything like that. But if he's on the Grand Line and he already knows his abilities, basically the only thing he has to worry about is people trying to attack him, because he will have everyone working for him. So being at that higher position, he should have more protection. And but just the amount of weapons he had, and the guns and artillery and everything that he had within his armor was absolutely OP. How Luffy actually got to beat him was insane. And I was just gasping everywhere. Freaking Jin, our boy, who Sanji fed, and then Jin at first freaking has the captain, the chef Zeff, on the ground, breaks his leg. I literally gasped out loud when I saw him at gunpoint, and then when I saw the peg leg being broke off, that's when I gasped out loud. I was unwell. I also kind of had the thought of when the Invincible Pearl started making the fire and the flames and going crazy, that I could see how some people can find this manga a bit, I don't want to say absurdist, but very ridiculous at times, because there's so many things that happens and there's not much rhyme or reason, at least at the moment, to explain a lot of these things as to like how these things are happening or why these things are happening, how these people are able to have this amount of artillery, how can the Invincible Pearl create that fire from getting angry as his defense mechanism from childhood and everything, like how can he do these things? Or how can they do these things? And I think a lot of it is just like, it's not really supposed to make sense in art terms, but within the world it's supposed to make sense. And I'm very excited to see where Oda goes with this, because he's already showed so much of his creativity only within the 68 chapters that I've read. There's just been, I feel like so much has happened, and I'll just continue to say that because it really has. So if I forget anything, please bear with me. This is kind of like a recap / how I'm feeling about East Blue and the different arcs within it, and just One Piece in general. That way you guys can get a little reminder of what happened so early on, since I know a lot of you guys have caught up. There was so many characters I feel like introduced into this arc, maybe the most happening, which I really am appreciating, because like like I've told y'all, my memory's not the best, so how's my memory working? And I'm jotting down these notes, even though I thought I was not gonna be a note person, but I absolutely have to be, because if I wanna make videos like this, I'm not going to remember what just happened like 3 minutes ago in my life. How am I gonna remember what happened yesterday when I read the manga, or today when I was reading the manga? So yeah. When Sanji said that he took everything that the chef had, at first I thought, oh, Sanji's like his son for some reason. Nope. Absolutely turned that on its head. Everything I would have never thought of, all the things that Oda thought about being a previous apprentice on a different ship, a passenger ship, and then Chef Zeff comes in when he was still a pirate, and then Sanji speaks up and tries to fight him or whatever, and then he ends up falling off the ship, and then Zeff goes in after him, and then they both get stranded after a storm, and they're the only 2 survivors, and after 85 days they get rescued, and freaking Chef Zeff cut off his leg and ate it and gave Sanji all the food, even though Sanji was ready to kill that man for his food that ended up just being treasure. And that's just me telling you in like a couple seconds, but me reading this over the, you know, shorter period, the period of time that I was reading it, I was like, so many things are happening, like so many emotions, like my brain is just like, all this stuff is happening? This is his backstory? This is Sanji's backstory? Like, I was not expecting this, and neither was any of the other crewmates that have been living with them for who knows how long. Moto, what are you doing? You got the other one? All right. Back again, my camera's dying. All right. This is great. So when they're doing the big battles, which there's so much battling, which I love. I feel like sometimes it's a little bit hard for me to follow because I'm not used to this medium, as I've told you guys, if you guys are following the journey, I'm not used to anime or manga anymore. And so, kind of watching battle scenes is very difficult for me to follow, because sometimes I think something is happening and then really another thing is happening, which I know sometimes the misdirection is on purpose, but I feel like this is like where I should know and should be paying attention or should be seeing these details, and I'm just missing it because I'm not used to trying to look for these specific things. But when Sanji is standing after getting beat down for Zeff, someone asked, why are you standing? And he said, just because for a moment longer, this ship can still be a restaurant. Like, this can still be the restaurant. And then I absolutely love the moment between Luffy and Sanji, because little does Sanji know, they share a very similar backstory of getting saved, even though they didn't ask to be saved, as a young child by, you know, their mentor, and then kind of feeling like they have a debt to be paid to them, like they owe them something. And so Luffy's like, this is not a way to repay your debt. It's not for you to get killed. That's not going to be a good way to repay your debt, basically. But yeah, he didn't save your life so you could throw it away, is what he says. I literally put the whole thing in my notes because I needed this. I needed this to stay, because like the emotional impact of having both of their faces on the sides, that same sort of kind of like Luffy being angry, Sanji kind of having a, hold on a minute, this is the goofy kid from like 2 seconds ago, like what's happening? And then Luffy's memory in the middle of Captain Shanks with his arm off, like that, the emotion, that perfect way to draw that scene out for me. Yeah, it says only a coward would do that. And the characters definitely have their flaws, and I love that, and they're definitely like, it makes them feel more, a mess. It makes them feel like more realistic in a way, because obviously they're not realistic because they're awesome epic pirates, but they have these flaws of like being too cowardice or being overly confident or not being able to let go of the honor and everything like that, and absolutely standing their ground, which can be a flaw if you're going too far, you're going too hard into it. But as Luffy says, he is ready to put his life on the line. Like Krieg and his desire for victory, and not caring about honor and mercy. So he's on the opposite end of that, where he's like, I absolutely don't care. And then I think he says it where he's like, oh, it's best to get your opponent when they're angry at you or whatever, and then they're, you know. And then Luffy literally does that to him and gets him angry and gets him all peed off, and then like, boom, falls to his freaking demise, which didn't even know if that was going to happen. And I know that they go on their ship and whatever. Moto, get away. Freaking your butthole. Stop. Yeah, with Jin the Demon Man having a saving moment where he said Sanji was the only person who was ever so nice, ever so kind to him, and he throws the mask at Luffy and, you know, allows himself to breathe in this poison and ends up living, which I was very surprised by that he ended up living. It doesn't make the impact any less. It doesn't make it any less, that scene any less impactful. Just that he was like, I've already failed my captain. I've already, you know, said I cannot do this one thing for you because this person saved my life and no one has ever been so kind to me. So I can't kill this one guy. And he's like, well, it's better just for me to die because I've already failed him. Which says a lot about what pirating is in this world and kind of how the pirates feel. And their unwavering just devotion to their captains. Even if they know they're an absolutely terrible person who's ready to kill them, they are still held by their honor and their loyalty to them, which is absolutely crazy. And oh, Zeff, even a man bristling with powerful weapons can be skewered by the spear of blind grit, which just explains Luffy to a T. Speaking of grit, I am so excited to see when we see the Master Swordsman again and all the other fights that Zoro may get into. I also thought it was exciting to know that there's these 4 different quadrants that we will see more of. Like, we're just in East Blue. And I was like, oh, that's why it's called East Blue. Yeah, I know. I didn't know anything. I know nothing. And I will accept that. That's fine. So, very exciting where Craig is like, yeah, this is... Was it Craig or is it the Master Swordsman? It's one of those where they're like, yeah, these people, they're nothing. Like, all these people you've been fighting, they're like, y'all are the weakest quadrant. Like, y'all are on the bottom. Y'all are the bottom feeders. And I was like, ooh, no. Oh, the chef and the crew trying to say Sanji's soup sucks to get him out of there. Like, oh no, that wasn't gonna work. He knows his abilities. Like, he's confident in himself. I like what Sanji said about, we both have foolish dreams, so I'll chase mine too. And so I enjoyed their sentimental crap goodbye. Yeah, I really enjoyed this arc. Like I said, there were so many things that happened and I have so little time to be able to talk to you guys about it, but I would love to be able to talk to you guys about it in the comments below. So please, let's have a conversation about this arc, specifically your favorite things, your least favorite things, who's your favorite character at this certain point in time, and don't think that I was missing Buggy's side stories on the pages. I was definitely taking a look at that and taking all that information in and waiting for some more Buggy adventures. So while I am sorry that this video had to be kind of short and it was more of a recap, but just know that I am enjoying my time and that I really want to be able to have the conversation with you guys in the comments. So whether it is day or night or whatever, have a good day, have a good night, and God bless.